Hey, what's happening, everyone? The football therapist here. Time to bring you some updated rookie ADP. Let's get into it. So guys, we're going to be looking at some of this ADP data here. To begin, I want you guys to know this is 1 QB non-tight end premium data. This is based on some research I've been looking at with different mocks on different sites. I also want to point out this has nothing to do with my rankings that I posted last week. This is just kind of an intro to see where some of these rookies are landing based on the current ADP. So up at top, no real surprises here. I mean, Najee Harris, workhorse running back. He's going to be going number 1 in most drafts. Jamar Chase, elite wide receiver prospect, should be going in the 1 to 3 range depending on team needs. And for this video, I'm not going to really be breaking down these players in depth. Just my thought on where they're going right now in rookie mock drafts. Travis Etienne, to me, I think this is a good spot for him. He's a really talented running back. And after Travis Etienne, there's Javonte Williams at the 1.06 for the running back position. And then I want to point out, it's very important to see where these top tier running backs are going right now, because after Javonte Williams, there's Kenneth Gainwell, and then there's a steep drop off in talent. So before Javonte Williams at the 1.04, we see Jalen Waddle, Devonta Smith, two guys who I personally am not as high on, but can understand why they're being drafted here. They'll have that high-end draft capital in the NFL draft being put into them by a team. You can make the argument talent-wise they're worth the 4th or 5th pick. But if I'm looking at this and I'm choosing between Jalen Waddle and Javonte Williams, I'm going to take Javonte Williams before these two because of that steep drop off in the running back talent in this Dynasty draft that's going to be coming up this offseason. So there's a lot of wide receiver depth in this rookie class. There's a ton of elite talent in that early second round, in my opinion. There's not as much running back depth as last year. I think you got to try to go after those 3 top tier running backs. And then Kenneth Gainwell, I really like him, but I can understand him being the mid to late first round pick. And then you hone in on those wide receivers later. So that's just my thought process. So Kyle Pitts and Trevor Lawrence, these are 2 players who are going at the 1.07 and 1.10, and I want to talk about them specifically because in these 1 QB drafts, when it's non-tight end premium, there's no real advantage to taking them this early in the draft, in my opinion. I don't want to waste a first round rookie pick on a quarterback if it's not super flex. I don't want to waste a first round draft pick on a Kyle Pitts. Although he's a great elite athlete and a great prospect, he's not going to really provide much of an advantage. And then if I don't have any running backs, if I don't have wide receivers on my team already, I'm going to miss out on all that elite top tier production from those positions and then waste that draft. It just doesn't make sense to me. So I love both of those players as prospects, but in this format, I think both of them are going to be taken a little bit too high. I think we've seen it historically at the quarterback and tight end position. It normally takes 2 to 3 years for these guys to really break out, especially at the tight end position. So I don't want to waste a first round draft pick on those positions. I would rather go for those elite wide receivers like a Rondale Moore or Rashad Bateman, who I love, right after there in Kyle Pitts. So that's my thought process on this. I understand if you're stacked at wide receiver, if you're stacked at running back already, then maybe you could pick up a Kyle Pitts. But for me personally, I'll be looking at the other positions, and I'll be drafting Kyle Pitts most likely at that 1.10 spot, maybe even 1.11. Back at end of the first here, we see Terrace Marshall Jr., Tylan Wallace, Kenneth Gainwell at the 2.01, Elijah Moore, and Amon-Ra St. Brown. So again, those wide receivers there really at the end of the first, early second. That's a really talented tier group of wide receivers. I would not mind getting any of those players on my team. I think being slotted there in any specific order would be really good for those back end teams in the first round, where you probably, if you're picking in the late first, you're a really good team already. You probably won your championship. So getting a really good wide receiver prospect who can make an impact on your team right away is really important, again, right in that spot. So guys, let's look at some of these mid-second round players quickly and the start of the third round. Justin Fields, again, like him as a quarterback in a 1 QB league when you have a little bit of talent at the other positions left. I would rather wait to take him a few picks after this. You have Tony and Brown there, two guys with a lot of potential depending on the draft capital. I think I will not be investing in those guys over the wide receivers that were taken a little bit earlier than them. I think this is good spots for both of them though. Then we look at this mini running back run. You got Hawkins, you got Sermon, you got Jefferson in there, you got Hubbard, and you got Carter. All of those guys, they have a lot of potential, they have a lot of positives, but they also have a lot of red flags. That's why I say it's really important to get those top tier running backs, because this group of running backs here at the end of the second, to me, are a lot of risk, and they're not going to have that high-end potential as those workhorse backs. Now, a guy that was sandwiched in there was Brevan Jordan. I don't understand why he's being taken so high. He's a really good-looking prospect at the tight end position, really dynamic, but I think Pat Freiermuth is a better prospect than him, and he's being taken a whole half of a round later. So I personally just won't be touching Jordan if this is where he's going come draft day. And you got Seth Williams, a wide receiver who had a really early breakout age, didn't do much in his next few seasons, but at the 3.01, I think that there's value there. Trey Lance and Zach Wilson, quarterbacks who I would touch in this range. I think really in that 3.01, 3.05 is where I'll be looking to take these quarterbacks in 1 QB leagues. Then you got, to finish it out, Kylan Hill and Demetrian Felton. So again, if you guys have any questions or comments, let them know below. I'll be breaking down some of these players in my next few videos. Let me know who you'll be drafting come draft day. Of course, there's plenty of time, but it's never too early to talk Dynasty Rookie.